And I wanted to start by thanking each of you for what you do. And I was glad to hear Ned use the word backbone, because small businesses are the backbone of our community. And I really appreciate what you do. And I think the best thing all of us can do to support Mount Shasta and support the local economy is to buy locally. And I know there's the initiative is being circulated through McLeod, and I guess it's also coming to Mount Shasta. So we need to buy locally. And as a symbolic and real support statement about that, I'm wearing a jacket and pants that I bought right here in Mount Shasta in Directions. And I buy everything I can in this community when I can. And I'm always impressed with how creative people are in finding ways to start businesses, working out of your home, whether you're working downtown. So I love that, and I thank you for it. I want to take about 2 or 3 minutes to introduce myself. I don't like talking about myself. I'd much rather hear about you all because you're much more interesting, I know. But I'm here today to ask you to vote for me to help govern our city. And in order for you to know whether you want to support me or not, you need to know a little bit about me and a little bit about where I came from. So I hope later to hear the same about all of you, because I love hearing people's stories. I grew up in West Virginia in a huge family. I had dozens, maybe even 100 aunts and uncles, and I grew up with about 50 first cousins, if you can believe it. I'm still pretty close to most of the first cousins. The aunts and uncles, of course, are mostly dying off now. Family has always been very close to me, as I'm sure it is to you, and I maintain very close ties to all of them. And I can assure you they all keep an eye on me. All my family in West Virginia, and they've all scattered other places too. I graduated from high school in Charleston, West Virginia. And soon after that, I went off to a little Bible college in Florida. Nobody in my family had ever gone to college, so it was a first. And for some reason, by the time I was in like 2nd or 3rd grade, I knew the word college, and I knew that someday I was going somewhere else and that I wanted to go to college. I don't know where it came from, but I did. And so I spent a couple of years in a little Bible college in Florida. And what I wanted to tell you all about that, especially today, is I started a small business, and I learned so much about how you do a small business. I've been there a couple of years, and some of us got kind of bored because it wasn't all that inspiring to be in this little college. So we put an ad in the paper, 2 of us, my roommate and I, 2 Christian women willing to clean your house. And we had so many calls. I mean, we were inundated with calls and requests, and we'd go out and clean, and then they'd say, "Oh, you did such a good job. We want you to come every week." And we had such a huge business, we started subcontracting. All of our friends in the dorms were going out, and the calls kept coming, and we loved it. And then we kept our books, and we kept to track our income and our outgo, and who was going where, and our spreadsheets was not a word we knew, but we had spreadsheets to allocate, to assign everybody to the test. So that was my first experience with small business. So I have a good sense from that of how you do those things. I left Trinity College after a couple of years and went back to my hometown, and there I met the man whom I later married. He had already graduated from Cornell and was going off to graduate school pretty soon, and I knew that I would not make it and survive in his world as this little country girl if I didn't get an education. So we moved to California in 1960. I went all the way through college after I was married. I did one semester at a junior college just to get some good grades so that I could get in a good school, and I graduated from Occidental College in 1964. By that time, I already had my first child, and we went off to Germany, where we lived for 3 years because my late husband had a job there. We then came back to Davis, and that's where I lived for many, many years. I truly always thought I would die in Davis. I loved Davis. My husband then died after teaching at UC Davis for 25 years. He died, and my granddaughter was here, and I decided I really wanted to be in the same town with my granddaughter. But I've digressed just a bit, because I first wanted to say that after we came to Davis, I ran and was elected 3 times to the Board of Education. We started, when the Board of Education in about the 12th year started recycling issues, you know, the same discussions of the census, I decided to move across the street to the City Council. So after serving 3 terms on the school board, I went and served in 3 terms on the City Council, still in Davis, and I was mayor for the last 2 years I was there. Then, at that point, my son, who has lived here for 20 years with his wife, they provided always to be my only grandchild. So I decided to retire from public life in Davis. I sold my home and I moved to Mount Shasta. In those days, I was saying I traded my briefcase for a diaper bag. And I thought I was ready to do that. And I've been here 5 years now. I've become very involved in the community. I love this community. I might as well confess right now I have a vested interest in running for the City Council. It's my granddaughter. My granddaughter is in 1st grade at Mount Shasta Elementary. My vested interest is assuring that in 20 years, I don't want her to say, what were they thinking? Why didn't they do it right? And so I want to be a part of doing it.